Couldn't be more deserving. You got me cloud surfing, cloud surfing, cloud surfing. You got me.
I'm so happy I finally got that. Yes,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
So, welcome to LoveHers 808 Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Ms. M to the Z to the Z.
Yes.
And this is the beautiful
Lordine Jean-Francois.
Jean-Francois. And today we are talking about... What are we talking about today, baby?
We miss you too.
Oh.
We are talking about signs that you're in a toxic relationship.
Oh, signs of a toxic relationship.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's it drinking?
No. That's what you say. That's the sound of something to get excited about.
Oh.
This is dun dun dun.
Okay.
Kind of drab. Kind of, oh my god.
Boom.
Right, that actually works better. I see what you did there.
I see what I did there.
I see what you did.
We playing, we messing with y'all. But no, signs that you are in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And what to do about it.
And what to do about
Some
it.
things that you could possibly do about it.
Indeed.
Yes, indeedy.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody been in a toxic relationship before?
Anyone?
Anyone?
Bueller? Okay, let me not age myself.
What you say, Bueller? Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's enough for me.
That's a good one. Anyway. Yeah, so a couple of signs that you could be in a toxic relationship. Okay, Cake Ziggy says yes. All right. Yeah, there you go. Many people have. Many people will.
I
have as well. You know what I'm saying? Learning lessons, growing lessons.
Absolutely.
Growing pains.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's all part of the growth.
All part of the process.
All part of your expansion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Unfortunately, some of us tend to stay long term
committed
in toxicity. And a lot of times we're not even aware that it is toxic.
Yeah.
And that's the part right there. It
That's
kind of
the
stings.
part.
You know what I'm saying?
That does.
Because of the awareness and the consciousness level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also too the addiction.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh,
The addiction.
the addiction that we have to stress and toxicity. You know?
Oh.
Like we're not even aware of the fact that when we are stressed, and what I mean by that is when our adrenaline is out of control, when the cortisol is out of control, like there's a boost that we get from that. And being in that like hyper aroused state is actually pretty addicting.
Highly addictive.
It's highly addictive because if you think about it, like when you're mad or when you're in a heated discussion, like you feel, kind of supercharged, right?
Yeah, charged.
You feel supercharged. And so what's happening is we're actually becoming addicted to the toxicity because of that supercharged kind of feeling that we get, right?
And those hormones that are released.
And those hormones that are
Right.
released, right, that kind of subconsciously just kind of keep us going back for more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you could be consciously unaware of it.
Yeah.
But the way that our brains are set up, you know what I'm saying? It's like our brains get addicted to those chemicals and then it's a constant need to be in this survival mode. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the human's natural negativity bias.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The negativity bias of the brain. And we discussed that previously. But just to sum it up, the way that we are set up as humans, we haven't quite evolved out of that stage yet. So back in the day when we were hunting and gathering and those type things, it was quite necessary for our survival to focus on the negative more than the positive, because if you focused on what was in your environment that was negative, meaning threats, possible threats, then you were more likely to survive, because you could so you could basically identify those things that were wrong. Something moved in that bush right there. Could be a tiger, you know what I'm saying, et cetera, et cetera. So our brains are naturally set up to focus on the negative more so than the positive. And then that links right into
the limbic system and the amygdala and all.
There you go. Hello,
the animal brain.
SAT words, y'all.
So sapient.
What you say?
So
What
sapient.
you say?
The limbic, the
and
animal brain. Yes, the
medulla
limbic
oblongata.
and the amygdala.
Oh, you didn't even say that, but I like that word.
But yes, there was a time where we had to kind of be in that heightened state, and it was better to have a false positive, so to be on alert and there not be danger than to not be on alert and there was danger, right? And so that being in that hyper aroused state, to fight, flee, or freeze,
right?
And even fawn, which is likened to like, have you ever heard fawn before? So fawn is like the behavior in relationships. It looks like people pleasing. So let me fawn all over you, right? I feel, I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. So let me do everything, that I can do, right, to keep you happy, to keep you engaged, to feel like I matter, that I'm important to you. Like, that's what fawning.
Oh, I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, I am too. I've done no guilt. I've done it too.
I've done it.
Yeah. And so, the flight, freeze, fawn response, it definitely has its benefits, because that system, our sympathetic nervous system protects us, right?
Yeah.
But in addition to that, we can end up being addicted to the chemicals that flow, right, when we're in that heightened state. And over time, being in that heightened state, whether it's because we're in toxic relationships or a toxic work environment, you name it, toxic family relationships, being in that heightened state over an extended period of time causes dis-ease to the body, right? Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all of that.
Right. And one of the chemicals that's released is cortisol, right?
Cortisol.
Which is stress?
It's the fear hormone.
Fear hormone, right? In a stress response, right. So,
exactly.
And just your brain being addicted to that, you know what I'm saying, wanting that charge, like literally like a drug, you know what I mean.
Like
so it's like you can be a cortisol head, not a crackhead, but a cortisol head, you know what I'm saying, and not even realize that that's what your body is wanting, you know what I mean. So some people who are what they would say, oh, he is toxic, she is toxic, etc. These people have major addictions to that cortisol, you know what I mean. And then that's why some people would start picking fights, you know what I'm saying,
looking for the fight,
looking for a fight, you know what I'm saying, looking for something wrong, you know what I mean, to basically feed that addiction, that need for that chemical, and you might not even be aware of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oftentimes we're not.
Yeah. And think about it too, like being addicted to a drug. So like when you try to stop using that drug, what's gonna happen? Withdrawal. Your body's craving these things. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with that addiction to those stress hormones. Indeed. Fear. Indeed. You know what I mean? And that's why some people don't feel normal or comfortable when things are peaceful.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because your body is literally craving that rush. That rush. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute. It's too peaceful. Something's wrong. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you go looking
and creating
things. And then, based on your perspective is your reality. So that's just some insight of what's going on in the mind of toxic people.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And unaware.
And most are unaware.
Yeah, mostly unaware.
Right. Because if you become aware, then the more you know.
Right. Hopefully,
the more you know better.
The more you know better.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So, yay, man. Yeah. But it's good to have that insight so that you can have a better understanding and realize that you cannot change that person.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? And for you to see the reflection, because it's a reflection. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why you are in that toxic relationship. You chose that person. That person chose you. Yeah. You guys chose each other. And so you can't play the victim. You know what I mean? And you have to take responsibility for your part in that. And if you choose to stay in that, then you're just as you're a co-creator. We're co-creating that toxicity. Right.
Absolutely.
And it's still all for your growth. You know what I mean? So you're gonna get the lesson when you get the lesson.
Yeah.
But you cannot play the victim and not really see the reflection, because it is a mirror. You have attracted this. So what inside of you
has drawn that
you know what I mean,
this experience.
So and then that's when you gotta put your big girl drawers on or your big boy drawers on, you know what I'm saying, and fess up. And look in the mirror and be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Because we ultimately attracted this. We stayed there for whatever reason, and now if you want to grow, there's gonna be some work that needs to be done, because you can go to the next relationship and experience the same thing, because you're the common denominator. You know what I'm saying? You never addressed those issues.
And that's one of the consequences of playing the victim role, one of the many consequences. But the blame piece, right? Because blame can be really sexy, right? I mean, and I say that often because it's like, oh, I don't have to look at me. I don't have to take accountability. I can make it all about you. I don't have to worry about changing anything, right? But the downside to that, the other side of that is you give your power away. Right? There's beauty in accountability for what we create. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because if you can say, okay, this is what is going on internally that's attracted what's going on externally, right? If you can identify that, then you're also in a position to make a conscious decision to choose differently. Right? Yeah.
And to grow and to expand to your highest good. You know?
Right.
And you will do that when you're ready. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing where I was saying how, like, you can't change someone. You know what I mean? Because they will do it when they're ready. And sometimes people have to hit rock bottom in order for that change to emerge. And you don't know what that person's rock bottom will be. It could be you leaving. You know what I'm saying? So, worry about yourself.
Worry about yourself. Rock bottom. Wow, what a term, right? Like, you have to hit the rock bottom. Do you know what was your rock bottom?
What was my rock bottom? I mean, I've had several rock bottoms. I think my rock bottom would be just starting to realize that I was worthy. You know what I'm saying? And becoming aware of the fact that I was not even consciously aware that was a program that I had running. You know what I mean? And so becoming first aware that I did have that program running, and it's still something I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? It's ongoing growth,
progress,
right? But I had to become aware of that was a program that I had running, and then I had to do something about it because I started realizing that, that whole people pleaser thing.
Oh, the
right?
fawning.
The fawning, right?
Yeah.
So, and feeling like, you can get, well, at least for me, I felt like at one point I was good. I was okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I could take care of many things and multitask, right? And by doing that, I did not realize that I was neglecting myself, and that was me not loving myself. You know what I'm saying? So when I started to do the work, started and really like one of my turning points was reading Dr. Joe Dispenza's "You Are the Placebo." That helped me a lot, and he had a lot of he had some meditation workshops that you could do, and I took that workshop, and it was there was some major meditation growths that he has you walk through, grow through. That helped me a lot, and it was another book, the Tibetan Book of Living in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, or I think that was the title.
Okay.
I'll look it up.
Living and Dying.
Living and Dying.
I think that's
it's a big red book. And reading that, but like basically like reading, giving myself more information, knowledge, kind of woke me up to some of these things. Who's waving over here?
What's that?
Hello.
Hey, Mika.
So, but yeah, like, and then realizing, hey, I got some of these patterns and programs running, and I need to do better with loving myself. And I realized that I didn't know how to love myself. So, if I don't know how to love myself, then how can you love me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't even know how to love myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, that was a wake up call for me. You know what I mean? So that's one example.
One example.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's it. If loving self and knowing what that looks like and feels like, and then being able to make sure that the person that you're with knows what it is to you, what it feels like to be loved, and to see whether they can love you the way that you want to be loved. Right?
Yeah. And when you're learning how to love yourself and the things that you love and the things that you want and the things that you feel worthy of and the things that you feel you are deserving of, that's where boundaries get set. You know what I'm saying? Because you start setting boundaries based on, hey, I'm not going to deal with this anymore because this is not love. You know what I'm saying? This is not how I want to be loved. This is a boundary for me. But if you don't even know your boundaries, then how can you tell your partner what those boundaries are? You know what I'm saying? So, and all of these things, like this is the reason why, you know what I'm saying, I experienced, that part of a toxic relationship. So, because I know that it was a reflection and a mirror for me to grow. So, you can't look without, I have to look within. And those were some of the things that I learned about myself. And it helped me to grow ultimately. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
What about me? I think like you, I've had several rock bottoms. I've had a few, but I would say the most recent one was I was in this relationship with someone who, on paper, it seemed like we were the perfect match, right? She had the job and the things and all of that, right? But she was very mean. Like just mean. Like mean to other people, even mean to her family. And I found myself like questioning, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Right? Like here I am Oh, thank you. And so are you. And so are you. You know, here I am, like I'm counseling people, I'm coaching people and teaching them how to set boundaries and to feel better about themselves. Meanwhile, I'm in a relationship with someone who totally does not align with any of those values, right? And just the dissonance, right? And what that means, basically the misalignment, right? Knowing that this is what I value. This is who I am. And being in a situation that's completely out of alignment with that, eventually, emotionally, it becomes too much to bear. And if we ignore the emotional signs, it begins to show up in other ways, right? So physically, even, experiencing health issues, anxiety, depression. I mean, eventually, it comes to the surface, right? But that's what it was for me. Like, it's like all these things seem to be right, a good compatibility, right? That it seemed to be there. Yet I was not happy and was trying to force myself to be happy because on paper it looked like we were a good match, right? And then meanwhile I'm completely miserable,
right?
So
you had compatibility, right? So we got the 3 C's.
The 3 C's.
The 3 C's we talked about, I think, last episode. Connection, chemistry,
and compatibility.
Yeah. So you had compatibility.
Yeah.
Did you have connection?
Well, I mean, when I think about what compatibility really means, we didn't have it. Right? Because to me, right, compatibility is us having similar values.
Exactly.
Right?
That's right.
Right? And goals. That's what it means to me. Now, my ego,
right.
My ego thought that we were compatible because we both were making a certain amount of money. We were driving certain cars. And we lived in certain places, right? So compatible on that surface level, yes.
Yeah, compatible resumes.
Exactly. Right? But in terms of compatible, soul aligned compatibility, right? That wasn't there. And fortunately enough, I was at a place in my life spiritually that I felt courageous enough to do something about it, where there once was a time I would have stayed in that situation way too long.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's something we wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
Why do we stay so long?
Yeah, why do we stay so long?
Why?
Ooh, we be committed, huh?
We be committed to toxicity.
God. It's the addiction. We already talked about. That's one aspect,
right? Because it is hard to get off drugs.
It's hard to get off drugs,
right? So it's hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we got to look at it like it is a drug. Because it has a similar weaning process.
It does.
You know
it has a similar cycle.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Indeed. So don't be so hard on yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Grace.
You got have grace with yourself.
Grace.
Love yourself. This is a growth awakening here.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? If you find that you are in a toxic relationship and you've been in this toxic relationship for years, it may be way too long. Give yourself the grace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why. Become more aware of that reason why.
Yeah.
Which ultimately raises your consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And this is a lesson. A lesson for your own growth.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So don't be so hard on yourself, because you know how we are. Our inner critic.
Own worst critic, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
critic,
we got to be cognizant of our self-talk. And so, we have to be more mindful with that. And we all deal with it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
And it's constant. Like, it's not like, you read a book on it and then you're healed. No, it's your ego is here. You know what I'm saying? Ego is here to stay.
Yeah.
You know, and the ego plays a major role in this. So it's a constant battle of, higher self.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And lower self.
Yeah.
And, so, just be easy with yourself. Be gentle.
Self-compassion, self-acceptance, accepting self where you are, here and now. For sure. Because the thing with being critical of ourselves, see, this is the gotcha, right? The more we beat up on ourselves, the more likely we are to stay in toxic situations, right? Right?
Why is that?
Why is that? Because when we're critical of ourselves, that affects our self-esteem and our self-confidence, right?
Yeah.
And so if we have a negative self-image, low self-esteem, we're more likely to accept less than what we deserve.
Yeah. And once again, it takes your power.
And it takes your power away to make choices that are in alignment with your highest good, right? So that's especially why the self-talk is so important. And just think about it. Like, words have energy. They have vibration to them, right? I mean, there are certain words that just feel heavy, right? So you're stupid. Why do you keep doing this to yourself? Like, there are certain things that we say to ourselves that literally weigh us down. And because energetically these phrases, these words are so heavy, that's literally draining your life force energy, right? Which then gets in the way of you having the energy you need to create the life that you desire and you deserve, right? Right. So we really want to be mindful of when that negative self-talk shows up, we're not rejecting it. We're not resisting it, because what we resist persists, right? You just want to be loving and kind and accepting. And maybe loving isn't where we are just yet. Right? Because sometimes it takes time to get there. And some people won't admit that. But it is hard for us to say that we love ourselves sometimes, right? Because of conditioning and all that. Yeah. Right. But start with acceptance, right? Start with acceptance, start with compassion. And I don't mean acceptance in the form of a resignation. Oh, this is just the way it is. No, accepting where you are so you can free up that energy and make decisions in alignment with your greatest good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And those words, like you said, everything has energy, right? There's high energy, high frequency, low energy, low frequency. You know what I'm saying? And energy, frequency, vibration, synonymous. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Momentum too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, for sure.
Right. So negative words have a low, slow vibration.
Yeah, indeed.
You know what I mean? So like you said, it literally weighs on you. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So let's just be more mindful and love ourselves more.
Indeed.
What was you about to say?
I was going to say, I think you were about to say what's one of the other reasons we stay in toxic relationships.
Oh, yeah?
I'm reading your mind, right? I'm reading your mind. Well, we just covered, right, just the self-criticism and the low self-esteem, right? And how we perpetuate that cycle when we speak negatively to ourselves, right? But also the time, right? The amount of time that we invest in relationships, right? And we live in a culture, and what made us think of this was Kendrick's new song, right?
Oh yeah, man. Y'all heard
Fire.
What is it? The
Heart Part 5 or something?
Part 5, yeah.
Oh my God.
And I mean, you can't listen to that without watching the video, though.
You gotta watch the video. Drop a heart, drop a comment if you've seen it. Man. Kendrick absolutely, oh my God, killed it, right?
But he talks about the culture.
He talks about the culture. He talks about the culture. Loving the culture, right? And to what expense? Like, we're loving the culture, but the culture isn't loving us back, right?
Damn.
Right? And
why do we do that?
And why do we do that? Why do we do that?
Same thing with toxic relationships.
Same thing. Yeah, because what gets praised? Like, how long you've been with someone, right? There's this societal program and reinforcement to be in relationships for a long time, right? And we're celebrating 10 years, we're celebrating 20 years, but what's the quality of that relationship?
And what's the real question? And what the real question is, are you happy?
Are you happy?
Are you happy were you happy the majority of those 10 years,
Yeah.
20 years,
Yeah.
30 years, 40? Or were you miserable in a toxic relationship? Like, we got to stop praising, congratulating,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things that aren't doing us no good anymore.
Absolutely.
Right? We're at the point now in our human evolution that it's time for us to grow and expand, and
Yeah.
we can't keep doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Different toilet.
Same shit, different toilet.
You know what I'm saying? We can't
Yeah.
do it. You gotta flush, man.
You gotta, you can just go ride that out on that night. Well, that was good. You gotta flush.
That was good.
You
Quick
need
on my
some-
feet.
You need some fresh water. You need some fresh water.
You going with it too. But seriously, man.
Yeah. And I want to add too.
Yes.
Yes. Are you happy? But are you growing?
Oh,
Right? Are you growing?
Are you growing?
Yeah.
And I mean, ultimately, I think that in order for you to be happy, like really happy, you have to be growing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because other than that, your growth is stunted. And you can only do that but for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why relationships have cycles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You go through these cycles with each other. You know what I'm saying? And like the honeymoon phase, you know what I'm saying? Happy, 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 happy until what? Until it's for the next growth spurt.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing is that's
The challenge.
coming. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
the challenge intended for you to grow.
Yeah, exactly. The contrast.
The contrast.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when things get real after you get through,
Yeah.
when all that dopamine ain't running through.
Right, and the oxytocin,
Yeah, you know
all
what I'm
them
saying?
happy
The
chemicals, and all
when that stuff starts, like, you can't stay in that high mode for a very, very long time.
we're not even wired to stay.
No,
in
you're not
high
supposed
mode
to,
for a
because
very
you
long
can't
time.
grow like that.
Absolutely.
You can't just be,
Yeah.
doped up with dopamine,
Right,
and,
just high all day long.
oxytocin. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like having a 20-hour orgasm.
Okay.
Like, come on, this shit is getting old now.
I don't know.
20 hours, baby. Now, you
Sign
know.
me
Let
up
me
for
stop.
that.
Oh,
You
please.
going to tell my business?
No,
You
we live. I gotta be
You
good.
better watch your tongue, okay? You about to tell my
That's
business
the
out
problem.
here. y'all. That's never the problem.
You know what? We doing too much.
Okay, so going back, come on,
get it together.
So, I love what Gary Zukov says about relationships. Look at you. She's a mess, y'all. So are you happy?
Gary
And are you growing? Right? Are you happy and are you growing? So Gary Zukov, he wrote The Seat of the Soul. Like, oh my God, he revolutionary in the spiritual development, soul development space, right? And so he says, he said relationships are supposed to be spiritual partnerships, right? Where two equals partner together for the purpose of spiritual growth.
Wow. Team message.
Right?
Can you say that again?
Purpose, yes. A relationship is a spiritual partnership between two equals, right? Two equals. So we vibrate and we equally, let's use the term equally yoked, right?
about to say that.
Right. For the purpose of spiritual growth. Right? So for the culture, the relationship culture, right? What tends to be the point of focus is how long y'all been together, right? But what we really want to be asking ourselves is, and at each other, are you happy and are you growing?
Are you happy and are you growing?
Yeah.
And then, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to say something else about that?
Well, and understanding that you're not going to be happy all the time. Right. Let's, and I think we want to make that statement, but of course you all know that, but are you mostly happy? Right. And are you growing?
Yeah. And when we look at it from that perspective, right, it makes sense that every relationship you get into is not meant to be forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, just think about it. Like, how often, just think about, like, where you are now in your life, right? And the amount of growth that you have experienced thus far. Can you imagine going through all these different levels of growth? And what's the possibility or the chances of the person that you're partnered with also going through their own growth and expansion, and you guys doing it together at the same time for many years? You know what I'm saying? And think about when you're like 18 and you're growing, and now you're like 30. Do you know all that you went through from 18 to 30? Imagine being with one person through all of that. That's very rare. And be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, because it's not realistic to think like that. So, and we have a program that's running that society has given us, and religion and all of these things, where they're telling us that when you partner with someone, it's for a lifetime. And that's not true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody you meet is not to be for a lifetime. Some people that you meet and partner with were just to teach you this one lesson. And then you were to grow from that to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't grow at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, you're going to have a constant
Right.
growing and expanding. Some people are not even growing. They're, what you call it? Regressing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you finally get with someone, you know what I'm saying, and you guys are equal, and you have the compatibility,
the connection,
and the chemistry.
Yeah, whole nother level.
Now that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just think about, just in relation to just in relation to age and where you are in your life. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is not ready for that. You know what I'm saying? So when you are ready for that, and you meet someone who is also ready for that, and you connect, and you have that connection, compatibility, and chemistry, now you got to keep her. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna stay together forever. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because think about it. It's lessons. It's life. It's the growth. It's the expansion. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah.
So another reason why we have to be mindful of our self-talk, because some people get into these relationships after relationship, and then they feel shame, guilt, and they're hard on themselves because they feel like they can't keep a relationship. But what are you really saying?
Yeah. Well, what we think that means is that we're a failure. Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're just growing.
You're growing.
Yeah.
And it's an indication of some more work. Some more work that needs to be done, because ultimately you have to be what you want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. You know what I'm saying? So if you are wanting better, you know what I mean, then you have to be better. And that requires work. Yeah.
And it's ongoing work too. It's ongoing. Just growing.
Yeah, it's ever growing.
That's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing, because life just keeps lifing. You know what I mean?
Right. For real. It's no. I used to think that when I was younger. I thought that like you reach a certain point of now you get a certain amount of knowledge, you read a certain amount of books, and then you're good.
You got it.
Yeah, I got it. I'm the spiritual.
Yeah.
Tip top. No. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So you ain't going nowhere. Your body may go elsewhere, but your energy ain't going nowhere. So you ain't never done. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's another thing to note too when it comes to relationships, and just not only, are you growing in this lifetime, but we connect with folks we maybe have had more lifetimes than they've had, And so, or have gone through more challenging things in our lifetimes. And what that means is our souls are also different in terms of level of maturity.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so that too affects the relationship and what it looks like to grow in a partnership when that also, could be the case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to get all spooky and deep, but just think about this. Most of the people that we meet that come into our lives,
You gonna do it, ain't you? You about to do it?
I am. You're so cute. Most of the people that we meet and that come into our lives and we have these relationships with, whether it's friendship, mothership, daughter, son, boyfriend, husband, father, etc. Most of these people we were in other lifetimes with. You know what I'm saying? Boo, yeah.
Boo, drops the mic. And why we keep coming back around? Why we keep...
You know what I'm saying? And we keep coming back around and we don't always come back in the same relationships. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, for example, you could be a daughter and mother in this relationship, this lifetime. Last lifetime, it could have been reversed. Where you were the mother, she was the daughter. Right? And there are experiences that you both chose to experience, because it's not random. And you both chose to experience these experiences for your own growth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it could be husband and wife. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes you weren't. Sometimes you had other relationships with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And a lot of times, I don't want to spook y'all out, but
Listen,
you know what I'm saying? But
what did we see this weekend? What was the name of the movie?
Everywhere,
everything,
all at once.
All at once.
I believe that's the name of the movie. We went to see this movie, man. I didn't even know the movie existed. I was just happening to look up because we were thinking about.
Found it.
Yeah, we were thinking about going to the drive-in. And it's showing at the drive-in, and then we looked up the trailer, and man,
oh my god,
it's our new fave.
It is
new favorite movie.
Yes,
look it up. I want to say everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah,
it's kind of like an Asian version of the Matrix, right?
Essentially, yeah,
right, but way kookier.
And just everything. You got the action, the comedy, the spiritual aspect.
The spiritual aspect, man.
So good. So essentially, without giving the movie away, it follows this woman who is experiencing her life in multiple universes.
Parallel universes.
And the way that her relationships present themselves in every one of those universes for her to learn very important lessons.
Yeah.
Right.
It's deep.
It's pretty powerful. And again, I don't want to give it away because I don't like when people, spoil the movies that I want to go see. Yeah. But check it out. Check it out.
Dope.
Yeah.
New fave. We're going to actually go see it again.
Yeah.
We liked it so much. I like it so much. I work here now.
But yeah, the point being is like we keep decide to keep coming back, right? Right, to have these experiences, to learn these lessons, to basically grow, mature, for our souls to grow. Right.
That's why you better treat people right this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Yeah. You know, because this is the karmic cycle. You know what I'm saying? And that you get wrapped up into that cycle when you haven't learned certain lessons, right? Yeah. So imagine you in a toxic relationship, right, with your parent, okay? And then you come back next lifetime, and now you're the parent, and they're the child. Are you going to continue the toxicity?
Yeah.
Or are you going to move in love and evolve?
Move in love, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times you can enter into these relationships. Well, enter into these relationships and people on the outside are looking like, why are they so toxic? Like, why can't they get along? And you don't know what they experienced in past lifetimes. That's why that's why you can't judge nobody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what happened. Yeah. You don't know. You don't know whose role is it this time. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And what they're going through and growing through.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? It get deep. Yeah. It get deep. So like, learning that and becoming aware of that, if you don't want to keep coming back experiencing that, you gotta grow and evolve in love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, you saw it too?
Yeah.
Yo, that joint.
So no, she was talking about Kendrick's video.
Oh, that's Kendrick's song. My bad.
But Key Ziggy does have a question. When you figure out you may be in a toxic situation, some just don't know how to move on, like the next step to take.
Good one.
Yeah. And so what is it? What is it that, because is it really that we don't know how to move on, or we're afraid of uncertainty?
Yeah, is it the fear?
Because, of course, easier, I guess, would seem to be easier said than done. Someone could just say, just leave in the relationship, right? If it's toxic, you go to counseling if you want to try to work it out. Try therapy, and if that's not something that both parties are interested in, then the option could be to leave, right? So it's not like there's a whole lot of choices. I think what hems us up is the fear of the unknown. Yeah. Right? Definitely. The fear of the unknown. And the guilt and the shame. Guilt and the shame and the things that we talked about, right? The addiction, the societal expectations, if you staying with someone for a long period of time, like all of those things, right? Are the things of the fear of seeming like a failure. Yeah. I guess those thoughts and those feelings that hook us, that cause us to become stuck, right? Yeah. So it's not that we don't know what to do. And I would suggest even just figuring out like what's important to you, right? If you really want a way forward, right? Think about what's important to you. What are your values? And then how what you're currently experiencing either aligns or doesn't align with those values, right? And then decide what step you want to take. But again, oftentimes it's not about not knowing what to do. It's about being afraid, fearful of what's on the other side.
Yeah. And being afraid of what to do. Because, like I said, you got to put your big drawers on. Yeah. Your big girl drawers on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, indeed.
And it takes work because you might not be ready to leave, but what you can do is you can start to become. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The art of becoming. You're going to have to start becoming the one that you love more. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have and I know, like, from my own experience, like, not knowing how to love myself, I had to start learning how to love myself. You know what I'm saying? And what did I have to do that? Read more. You know what I'm saying? Certain books I was being directed to by spirit. You know what I'm saying? Tapping in more, meditating more, being still more. You know what I'm saying? Going to go do the things that I enjoy by myself or with people that also enjoy those things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But those things are the things you do to start loving yourself. Yeah. And really, like, when you start doing that and those things, you grow.
Yeah. Yeah, and you require more. Yeah, and I read something today, and I had to let this sit with me. It said from Radical Awakening, Dr. Shefali, amazing book. Please pick it up, listen to it. But she talked about how in order to even love someone else and to love them unconditionally without, the transactional aspect we have to relationships sometimes, you can't love someone else fully unless you love yourself, right? Because without loving yourself, love is conditional. And it's more about possession. It's more about thinking that somebody else has to complete you. And then so there's a sense of ownership that comes along with it. And love is supposed to be free. Woo. Right? Love is free. It's freeing. Love acknowledges that we may come together for a time. Healthy love. We may come together for a time, reason, season, maybe a lifetime, right? And we may part ways because that's what's in the best interest of our soul's growth, our soul's development. Like, that's love. Love does not try to control or possess or smother or intimidate. And a lot of us think that that's what love is, but what that really is fear and insecurity.
Yeah.
Right?
That's big right there.
Yeah. Fear and insecurity. And so to even begin to love someone wholeheartedly, unconditionally, not the ego-based kind of love, right? You have to start with self, have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if not, you're looking for others to complete you.
Yeah. And see, once again, we get into those programs, right? The cultural programs. How many movies have you seen where they have this big old lovey romantic scene and they're like, you complete me.
Yeah, all the time. Who am I without you?
You know what I'm saying?
There would be nothing without you.
Yeah.
Yeah, programs.
And that's actually a toxic program.
It is.
It at one point I thought it was romantic and cute. But as I grew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I realized that's actually not healthy. You know what I'm saying? Because what makes a relationship work, like, to its fullest potential is when both individuals are whole. You know what I'm saying? They're already whole. And or they're working on their wholeness and aware of that. And they both understand that they both have to be doing the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The work of evolving and growing.
Yeah.
And you're not dependent on someone else helping you grow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I mean, relationships do help us grow.
They do.
Right?
Right.
Because relationships trigger the wounds that need healing, right? Those emotional wounds that need healing, that need our attention. So there's that aspect of it. However, the seeking someone else to complete us,
yes,
right? Like that aspect, that misconception of growing, right? When I get love or when I'm in love, like as if that's just something we have to tick off a notch on our belt in order for us to feel complete, right?
Yeah.
That's where it gets pretty toxic.
Pretty toxic, it can.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because ultimately, what you will, if you haven't discovered, what you will come to discover is that you have to be love.
And that you are love.
And that you are love. And a lot of us are unaware of that.
Seeking.
You know what I mean? We're seeking it there.
And we are it.
And the whole time it's here.
Yeah.
It's like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. You know what I'm saying? Click your heels, baby.
You're already home.
You know what I mean? And that is the work.
Yeah.
That's the work.
When you realize that,
unstoppable.
Oh my God. Like when you realize that you are already everything that you need. Tell me, how can you find yourself in a toxic relationship when you realize that?
You won't, because those people won't be drawn to you, and you won't be drawn to them.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a quote that I wanted to read.
Yeah, before
that I found.
Minutes.
We got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, this is a quote. Toxic people attach themselves like cinder blocks tied to your ankles, and then invite you for a swim in their poisoned waters.